In this video, I'm going to be providing an update to my Freetrade review. Now, there is going to be an article on the Money to the Masses website, which I will run through on screen, but I will put a link in the notes of this video so you can go through and look at that at your own leisure. Now, we do update our reviews on the Money to the Masses website regularly, and that's when new products and services are released by these platforms. There are changes all the time, which is one of the reasons why I am updating this video, because there has been a number of changes to the Freetrade platform. We also do compare Freetrade and all the other platforms on the Money to the Masses website. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump across to that article in 1 second. I will put a link to our previous review of Freetrade, which does cover a lot of the details about how the platform works, but this one is an update to that particular video. So I'm going to jump across to that article now. You can see it on screen. It's a review of the Freetrade platform. Now, Freetrade, just to give you a quick summary, is a platform that allows you to build a portfolio from as little as £2, and you can buy and sell stocks and ETFs commission free, and they do have 3 plans that you can choose from. Now, there is an offer on there that you can see. Go through to the article if you want to see that in depth, but you can get a free share worth between £10 and £100 when you sign up, and also there's a free share worth £200 when you transfer or top up at least £10,000. But as I say, you can go through and read that yourself. Now, Freetrade allows you to buy and sell shares, as I mentioned. Now, first of all, we're going to just run through the key features of Freetrade. One of the first things I want to point out actually is there has been a change to their ISA. It's now a flexible ISA. Now, that means that you can actually take money out of your ISA, and as long as you put it back before the end of the tax year which you make the withdrawal, then it doesn't impact your ISA allowance. So for example, if you had £20,000 you'd put in and you'd invested, if you took out £5,000 you can add it back in, but it does also mean that you can take money out even if it's from previous tax years. And so if you have that money in there, as long as you put it back within the same tax year, then it will still fall within that tax-free wrapper, so you won't pay tax on your dividends and income. Anyway, on screen there you can see the main things about Freetrade: that commission-free investing, there's a low minimum investment amount, there's fractional shares, so it means that you can invest in those popular US stocks, things like Nvidia or Apple that you might want to invest in. You can do so via Freetrade. There are over 6,200 European and US stocks and ETFs you can invest in, and you can have cash investments too. Importantly, if I go down to the main comparison of the 3 different plans, you can now earn a fairly decent rate of interest on cash that's uninvested. I'll go through that in a second. So on screen you can see the 3 plans. We've got the basic plan, the standard plan, and the plus plan. Now, the costs of each of these have increased marginally over time. So the standard plan has actually gone from $4.99 to $5.99, and the plus plan has gone from $9.99 to $11.99. Those were the old costs when we last reviewed the product back in 2022. There have been some changes. If you look across, you can see the differences there, but importantly, you can now get 4,700 stocks and ETFs on the basic plan. That's up from 1,500 when we last did the review. For the other plans, you can see you can get over 6,200 now, and that is up significantly. It was about 6,000 the last time we looked at this, but now users get a greater rate of interest paid on uninvested cash. The rate you get there does depend on which plan you're on. The plus plan does give you 5% on up to £3,000. Now, you've got to bear in mind that the rates and charges that I mentioned in this video are subject to change, so do make sure you read the review on the website to see the latest charges and rates of interest. Now, one thing to bear in mind is that you only get a stocks and shares ISA with the plus plan and the standard plan, and the self-invested personal pension you only get with the plus plan. That does set it apart from one of its biggest competitors, which is Trading 212. So Trading 212 don't offer a pension as I make this video, so if you are wanting to invest via a pension, then Freetrade is one of your options. It is commission free. There are FX charges you have to bear in mind if you are going to be investing abroad. Those FX fees are on screen. They do vary. Again, the better or the more expensive plan you are on, the cheaper the FX fee, so that is 0.39%. Now with Trading 212, the FX fees are lower. They are actually as low as 0.15%. and technically you can avoid them altogether because they do offer multi-currency accounts. But do go and check the review. I'll put a link to that in the notes of this video. So Trading 212, we do provide a comparison between some of its competitors. It does compare favourably against most of them. As I say, Trading 212 is probably its biggest rival. In terms of customer reviews, it's still very positive. 4 out of 5 on Trustpilot from over 4,000 reviews. So overall, it's still easy to set up, user-friendly, low cost. Of course, the cons are the risk of making losses. That is true of any trading that you do, so do bear that in mind. And also, there isn't really many thrills with this particular app, so the lack of research that might be available, but that for most people isn't really that much of a drawback. I have to just point it out because some other platforms, like some of the more established investment platforms in the UK, maybe Interactive Investor for example, do offer research on the side. Now in summary, Freetrade is probably still best suited to beginner investors and those happy to stick with buying individual stocks and ETFs. You can't buy unit trusts, for example, on the platform. Those wanting to pick other things might want to look at things like Interactive Investor, for example. If they're looking at things like crypto, then Trading 212 is an option to look at as well. Now, Freetrade does pay interest on uninvested cash on all 3 plans, as I've mentioned, and those opting for the higher plans, obviously you do get paid higher rates, but you also have higher benefits in terms of FX fees that are reduced. So I have put a link to the comparison we've got with other investing apps out there. So overall, there's been some small tweaks to the Freetrade platform and app, mostly introducing some new features or access to investments, a little bit of an increase in cost, but it's still an incredibly popular app for beginners and actually expert investors alike. For those of you who want to find out a little bit more, make sure you do read the review in full, but also you will find that offer in there if you are at all interested. So please make sure you hit that like button, but also subscribe to the channel if you found this useful at all, but also do leave some comments or questions and I can answer those for you.